I'm going to talk about something that's incredibly important to people who are involved in business, but also it's a general topic, and that is this mentality that people have. I call it the battle mentality, right, versus a war mentality, right? A battle is something really fierce, really, strenuous. It lasts a very short period of time. A war is more of a long game, right? It's a whole sequence of battles, and it's something that has to be waged over a long period of time. Most people, if you look at their efforts in life, whether it's dieting or picking up a new habit or hobby they're going to learn, or, learning a musical instrument, all kinds of different things, they approach it as a battle, and they fail almost invariably, almost always. And I really hate to see this with people who are entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are people that I work with all the time, right? I deal with entrepreneurs each and every day as a trainer here at Rocket Driver. And I kind of lecture on this subject, or at least I coach on this subject, to look at things as a sustained, long-haul effort, not to look at them as this short-term thing you're going to do for a short period of time and then abandon. And I thought a little bit about it. I wrote an article on it recently, and I thought about how, really it's almost a function of human psychology, right? Because we have this fight-or-flight response. And I think that what people do is, I think it plays into that psychology somehow. And I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't know the deeper, readings here. But I think it has the mentality where people look at, doing things, whatever they are, and they apply their fight response to it, right? They apply this short-term, real burst of effort, and they do something that they could never maintain over the long haul. And I think, we've all seen this with people who go on diets. A person will go on a diet. They'll say, I'm not going to eat anything but celery. And they'll maintain it for 3 days and then give up. And instead of, going to a more moderate diet that they could sustain, right, something that's, halfway healthy, they go all the way back to eating garbage, right? And it's kind of like that with business. I see entrepreneurs, they open a business and they say, I'm going to work 20 hours a day. And they do it for 2 days. Then their body gives out and they completely abandon it. They lose hope and they just give up. Instead of saying, I'm going to work, part-time on this, maybe I'm going to work 4 hours a day or 6 or 8, something sustainable, they apply themselves in this great overexertion that then completely fails, and they end up falling backwards and giving up entirely. And it's terrible to witness this, but it's a pattern that's repeated so consistently throughout the years I've been in this business that I really thought I would, talk about it. And my remedy to this, my solution to this, what I believe in my heart is that with business, and I can't speak to everything else, but I can speak to business and I can speak to a few topics. But with business specifically, you have to carry a load that you can carry. You have to not overpack yourself or overburden yourself, or you're going to give up. It's just a matter of time, because over time, the organism will give out, right? The spirit is strong, the body is weak. You will give out eventually. So what you have to do is you have to strike a balance. And I don't mean one of these, sort of campy, cliches about striking a balance and having feng shui in life and, whatever nonsense about that. This isn't some new age spiritualism. What I'm talking to you about is striking a balance where you're working hard, but you're not overworking to where you're going to give up. And what kind of going off topic here for a moment again, when it comes to people in like dieting is a really simple equation, right? It's a calorie deficit. You don't run you run a surplus, you get fat. You run a deficit, you lose weight. It's just that simple, right? What I advise to people on that, and just to bring it back to this, is you run a calorie deficit that's so small that you don't notice it, right? Yeah, you'll lose a couple pounds a week, right, over time. But people will say, but I have to lose 80 pounds or something like that. I can't wait that long. Well, there's your problem. It's you. Your impatience. And what they'll do is they'll try to starve themselves completely. And then again, they'll give up. And it's like that with business as well. You have to figure out a workload that you can sustain. But I think of it like this too. That workload that you sustain, how it's structured matters as well. The way that I've seen, really successful entrepreneurs work through the years has always been like this. I know entrepreneurs who work 90 hours a week. People hear that and they go, oh my God, I could never do that. But they're thinking of working 90 hours a week for a boss, with somebody stressfully pressuring them to work and having to punch a clock and having to, take no more than 15 minutes on a bathroom break, and, whatever else crazy stuff goes on at your place of employment. But that's not what it is when you're an entrepreneur. When you're an entrepreneur, you wake up when you wake up. Generally, I mean, other than you have a meeting, right? Let's say you don't have a meeting. You wake up whenever you want to. You go to work and you work. And if you're tired, you go take a nap. And if you feel better after your nap, you go back to work. And it's, for most entrepreneurs I've seen that are really successful, it's just a continuous ongoing effort like that, where their work bleeds right into their life and they're never high pressure at all. Sure, they have things they worry about, but their internal motivation is very high. They see a direct response in terms of profit for their investment of time, right? So there's a feedback loop that's self-reinforcing there. And when you see them and you see their patterns, it's not the pattern and it's not the behavior of a person who's stressed out. It's the behavior of a person who's passionate, who's in love with their business, who's made business their lifestyle. And there are all kinds of these sort of, little quips and one-liners that get thrown around about how horrible that is. Work to live, don't live to work. And, you need to work less than X hours to be happy. And, all that kind of stuff, where basically they're almost passively discouraging people from applying themselves. They're pushing failure in a sense, because they're telling people, don't work very hard. It's not about working really hard. The battle person is working really hard. The entrepreneur has made work their lifestyle. Being at work is not stressful if you enjoy being there. Being at work is not miserable if it literally is your hobby and is the thing you do for fun. And entrepreneurs I know that are successful people are the kind of people that, they like being at work. They like working on their business, whatever that business is. And I've met entrepreneurs in all kinds of industries. And all of them universally are carrying the exact amount of weight that they can carry. They are not overburdening themselves. They are not stressing themselves out. They're not taking on something that can't be taken on. And when it comes to like huge things in business, big business initiatives, right? Because occasionally, things come along that require enormous amount of work. You break them up into small tasks, take it in bite-sized pieces. Don't try to swallow it all at once, right? If you don't do that, you're doomed. You're doomed from day one. You're never going to get anywhere. If you take on something that's gargantuan and go, I'm going to work 50 hours straight and get this all done. No, don't be an idiot. Break it up into 5 days and work your 50 hours that way. Just use common sense, but really think about motivation. Really think about things you failed at in life. And I encourage everyone to do this, whether it's playing guitar or, learning a new talent of any kind, learning a new, skill. Most of the time you failed because you approached it as a battle when it was a war.